Good morning, my friends. My name is Ashish, and we'll be discussing what is a very important topic of GS Paper 1 and GS Paper 2, that is, salient features of the Indian society. Now, this topic, which is basically mains specific, that is, most of the topics are covered in mains. However, we have seen many questions coming in prelims with respect to the policies and the other important policy making decisions of government with respect to the society. If we see the important subtopics of Indian society, it is very important to note that UPSC syllabus is very explicit with respect to the coming up of or the mentioning of Indian society. The word is most of the time anthropological in origin. We study it in the form of the nature of origin of man and the species. We also study this topic in the form of various dimensions related to society. For example, if I say and try to define the word society here, a very crude definition or a very crude understanding even of society, we are not trying to define it right now, but a very crude and a very usual layman's definition would be that society may be consisted of a group of people, or it may be consisting of homogeneous group of people. Homogeneous means having same parameters. For example, people of same clan. When we use this word clan, or the Hindi version of it, maybe which is used most of the time, Gotra. That is called as homogenized clan. Or maybe people of the same caste living in a homogeneous society. Or same, let's say, economic status. Man used to live in seclusion in primitive life. That is, during the time of Paleolithic life, the Paleolithic age that was there. Paleo means stone. That is Stone Age. From just being a hunter-gatherer, man started to live in society. That is, one person group or one particular group needed more than few hands at his disposal. For example, for occupations like agriculture, you would need more people at job. So, there comes a birth of an agricultural based society. Moving away from agriculture, you have coming up of trade. Now, when agriculture produces surplus, you have coming up of trade. Please don't get bogged down by various transactions, various nature of transitory society. I'm just giving you an overview that how and in what manner are we approaching this simple word that is society. As I said you, it is a very important subject matter of anthropology, but at the same point of time, it is a very important part of your GS paper 1. We are not going anywhere outside the syllabus. We are trying to cover everything which is within syllabus, and hence we are first trying to define what is society. So for example, UPSC is very clear in its understanding when it says that the first subtopic within the GS paper 1, it says that one should know the salient features of Indian society and diversity of India. Society as a whole is a very big concept. You have to learn about society of the whole world. That is not expected at this stage of time, you are expected to know at least the society or the coming up of age or society of India. So UPSC is very clear that first it wants to know you about or let you know about salient features of Indian society and diversity of India. That is the topic of discussion of today's. The next, for example, I'm just giving you an overview that what UPSC wants us to read and understand. It says role of women, a very important topic. Women, specific questions have been asked many times in UPSC. If you ask me, how are they asked? For example, various policy decisions that have been taken with respect to women. And when I say women, I include women at all age groups. So starting from girl child initiations. For example, if I ask you a very simple thing and a very simple question, that which policy that government of India pronounces or has in its place with respect to increasing the child sex ratio. The child sex ratio in India is going abysmally down. It is 914 per thousand births. This is a very glaring situation. Now, what does government intervention do here? For example, you all have heard about Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao. That is the intervention at birth. That is to arrest the prenatal sex determination. For example, most of the sex determination that takes place in the rural areas most of the time, and also not just rural areas but also urban areas, are heavily biased towards preference of male child. Now this is a very glaring biasness of our society as such, because they are the same parents who want male child for themselves and not female. That is not a girl child. Now, under this intervention, we have a PPNDTC Act. That is determination of sex when the child is at womb is illegal. It's a punishable offense also for the person who is doing it as well as the person who has asked them to do it. It can be only done under very severe circumstances. For example, if the fetus is not developed properly, if you have some complication which is related to the sex or to the gender of the child and the doctor has to inform, then it can be permissible only with the exception and regulation of a medical board. Otherwise, it is a strictly punishable act. It's a strict punishable offense. And then this is a determination or this is an intervention to prevent the child sex ratio from sliding down. At the same point of time, what happens when a girl child takes birth? That is, you have to give her education. That is the basic theme of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, right? Simple thing. So you have to give education. Now, we know this, that under right to education, Article 21A, we have free primary compulsory education. At the same point of time, that is primary compulsory education comes from standard 5th to standard 8th. But even before that, girl childs are given monetary compensations to the mother. And when she comes of age, for example, when she attains the 12th standard, that is the 12th, when she passes the 12th standard, she is given a particular X amount of money under Janani Suraksha Yojana or other compensatory programs and the policies of Government of India. Now, this is just an example that what government does with respect to women. And when I say women here, girl child, I just took an example of girl child. But we also have problems with respect to mothers. For example, the maternal mortality rate is a glaring example that how not well we are suited for this. For example, infant mortality rate is again very glaringly low. It is that is the National Health Mission's target is to make it 100 per 1000 births. But it is more in some states, it is less in some states. For example, you all have heard about sustainable development growth, sustainable development goals. The sustainable development goals even puts a higher premium, even puts a high aspirational growth. For example, it puts, let's say, 70 per 1000 births. And India and India's many other states are lagging in that count. So these are the interventions at the level of, for example, the policy decisions with respect to women, which is just explicitly stated. You also have to know about the health of adolescent girls, right? You must have all heard about Abla Yojana or Sabla Yojana, Rajiv Gandhi. That is taking care or making sure that the adolescent girls who just come of age, who just attain puberty, are given good hygienic health practice knowledge at the same point of time provided for their nutrition through those policy interventions. For example, the role of self-help groups or the role of NGOs who are working with respect to women, that is adolescent women. So we have many other issues with respect to this. For example, most of the destitute women, most of the destitute girls, adolescent girls who are a victim of trafficking, who are a victim of child abuse, sexual abuse at early stage, they are supposed to be rehabilitated by these NGOs and SHGs which work in tandem, which work with the government in order to provide them. But what happens? You all must have heard, or if you have not heard, that this is a very important part of your current affairs, that there are many shelter homes which turn out to be a venue of exploitation of these girls. For example, a very famous Muzaffarpur case of abusing of adolescent girls who were supposed to be a shelter home for those adolescent girls were instead being abused by the people who were supposed to give her or them care. But that does not happen, right? So that is why we have the role of audits. For example, if you listen to the important current affairs, then it was the Tata Institute of Social Sciences audit. That is the social audit that they do. Now, what is social audit? What is proprietary audit? What is financial audit? That is a part of your GS paper 3. But to just give you an idea, social audit is done of various important self-help groups or institutions. And what they do? They tell you, that is, they tell the general people as such, that what is going on, what is a mandate of an organization, and is the organization following that mandate. That is also an important part of your social syllabus.